Well, we have some sad news, a bit of breaking news, at least for when we're recording this. Christine McVie, the singer-songwriter behind some of Fleetwood Mac's biggest hits, she has died. That was Wednesday morning following a brief illness. She was 79.
Hey, can I say this? Big celebrities that were part of my childhood. I know you want your privacy and your dignity. I need a little heads up when you're sick.
Oh, sure.
I can't just, she's dead.
Be blindsided.
I need like this 3 months. Like,
It'd be nice.
She's not doing very well. Just some. I know you want your privacy and your dignity and solitude and everything, but you can't just boom.
Yeah, it's not fair to us.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be on stage and help introduce her when she and Lindsey Buckingham came out at the Greek, which was the highlight of my life. We did it at the Sound. And I have to say, I don't know where you all stand on this. Fleetwood Mac, I'm a big fan.
Huge fan.
Love, great. My favorite Fleetwood Mac song has always been Song.
Interviewing Mick Fleetwood, who's a very interesting gentleman. I'll never forget the story he told me. He lived up in the Malibu Hills. Mm-hmm. If you live in the hills of Malibu, there shall be a fire that sweeps through.
Right.
Every 7 years or so, there's a big one that just sweeps through. We're always caught off guard, too. Like, what? There's a fire? Yeah.
It's called fire season.
It's a thing that happens every 4 to 7 years, so we shouldn't be surprised. But he was right in the thick of everything. And, of course, you could imagine what Mick Fleetwood's house looks like, you know?
Like a mosaic?
And he said, I took every Stratocaster and Fender bass and guitar and drum kit and everything I had, and I threw it all in the swimming pool.
Oh, my God, to save it.
Yeah, I mean, what if you had a sunburst, Les Paul or something, and the fire was sweeping through, threw it all in the swimming pool, and the fire missed my house.
Oh!
And I thought, that's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Now, isn't it ironic, Alanis Morissette? That's what that means.
Yes, he threw her in the pool, too. She was in his house. And said, get in the pool, bitch. It'll fix your hair.
Well, you also have a Stevie Nicks story from the Foo Fighters.
Oh, God. Bull.
No, we don't have to get into that.
Okay.
Didn't she hand someone her sunglasses?
She handed Chris, will figure out, the lead guitar player.
Chris Shiflett.
Oh, yeah, he's been on.
Yeah.
He confirmed this.
Yeah. She was doing a guest at the Forum, and she walked out to do, it was the most a diva thing I've ever seen in my life. She walks out to sit in on a couple of songs with Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters, and hands the lead guitar player her sunglasses. Like, hey, boy, hang on to this. It's time for the pros to take the mic. And she didn't even know he was in the band. Although he was on stage with a guitar. But she's like, here, hold this shit. Here's my purse. Here's my sunglasses. Hold this shit. We gotta go out. We gotta go out and sing.
I remember Mark Thompson, when we were doing Mark in the Morning, had a story where on Mark and Brian, I don't know how long you've been out here.
I remember Mark and Brian, yeah.
So Stevie Nicks was supposed to come on, but she wouldn't come out of the green room. She wouldn't come out of the little radio dressing room because she was having like a freak out. And there was no way to get her on Mark and Brian until an intern who's like super hippy dippy came in, this like big giant guy who was like really into crystals, gave her like a little satchel of like crystals and seeds, and they had like a meditation together, and he was the only one able to get her on.
Genius.
Mark and Brian.
Well, I'll say this. Most people that are in the crystals and the gypsy shit and all the holistic this, and they need to borrow $800 to pay off their Discover card. You're like, maybe this shit ain't working for you.
Yeah. Maybe you're spending too much money on crystals.
But you got to give Stevie Nicks a pass.
They're not cheap.
That's right.
Maybe the shit is working for her.
True.
She's had a pretty good run.
She has. Yeah. That's a good
you
point.
wouldn't call her, a fool for all her crazy hocus pocus.
No.
You go, it seems to have panned out.
And wasn't she? I'm trying to think of the Jimmy Iovine documentary. Wasn't she dating him too?
Yes, I think she
they were
moved
checking
into
up.
his Malibu home or something like that. God.
Yeah, she's had quite a life.
Yeah.
Anyway, Christine McVie will be missed.
Yes, he will.
Let's talk about what New York City Mayor Eric Adams is doing. Adam, I don't know if you've talked about this?
I know. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this. He's giving outreach workers, police officers, and first responders discretion, their own discretion, to hospitalize people with severe mental illness who are living on the streets, even if the person doesn't want it. Adams said on Tuesday that it's a common misunderstanding that we cannot provide involuntary assistance unless someone's violent, suicidal, or an imminent risk. The mayor also added this group cycles in and out of hospitals, cycles in and out of jails, and that's it. USA Today reports that Adams is laying out his 11-point mental health agenda for the upcoming legislative session. As part of the new measures, city officials are authorized to hospitalize people who pose a risk of harm to themselves, even if they're not a threat to the public.
Yeah. Well, first off, speaking of hair, he could have never been elected in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
He was a bald-headed weirdo. He would have been a Bond villain. We would have elected. Are you kidding?
Blofeld.
Yes, the city that had Studio 54 going. Think they would have elected a bald guy? But they might have elected a black guy, but they wouldn't have elected a bald guy. Preposterous. So that's how far we've come.
Kojak was ahead of his time.
But
for sure.
Blofeld.
Yes.
Like Blofeld.
Yes.
That's right. All right. Listen. I have news for every elected official. Everybody who sleeps outdoors on a regular basis has a mental and or drug issue. That is it. That's why you sleep on a sidewalk in a box. That's why you do not have a friend, a loved one, a coworker, or somebody you've met in the past whose sofa you may surf on or couch you may surf on. It is. If it's not 100%, it's into the high 90s. All these people need to be taken care of. The fentanyl deaths now in Los Angeles are like through the fucking roof. You people who are saying, oh, I'm an advocate for homeless. Are you an advocate for pets and you just let them sleep on the street? Like, you need to get the fucking pet into a shelter and they need to get some shots. They need to be nourished. You being an advocate of letting people roll in their own filth and fucking stroke out on the street after bad fentanyl dose, you're not an advocate.
Yeah.
Secondly, people don't have the right to just camp in public ground. You don't have the right to pitch a tent in a park. You don't have a right to park a Winnebago on a curb in front of someone's house in Venice. Nobody has any. I don't know who got empowered with all these rights all of a sudden. We live in a fucking place where if you lit a cigarette on the beach, you would be tackled by a fucking law enforcement person. What do you mean? I have the right. You don't have the right to drive around without a fucking front license plate in Los Angeles. What do you mean your rights? You don't have any fucking rights, much less camping on somebody's lawn or in the sidewalk in front of their house. They all need help. Get them the fucking help. Jesus Christ. I will play you a guy who has pretty excellent hair. I got to admit it, but I'm not a fan. Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom was in the studio in 2013. We're coming on to a decade ago, explaining he was passionate about the homeless situation. He was the only one who was passionate about it. And then he had to explain to me what the homeless situation was.
That was my issue, homelessness, and my passionate efforts
to
deal with homeless. That's an issue that no one cares about in this country. I care deeply.
Well, listen, the thing about homeless people is they're either junkies or they're crazy or they're both. This notion of like the guy's a hardworking, God-fearing family member who lost his job and now had to take to the streets is total and utter bullshit.
But what about the picture?
All right, hold on. I just told him what the homeless problem was. I just told him a decade ago what the fucking homeless problem was. Crazy people and junkies. That's the homeless problem. That's all of the homeless problem, but not Gavin. Oh, he had a little different take on the homeless problem, which, sorry, you can wind it back 10 seconds. Who lost his job and now had to take to the streets is total and utter bullshit.
But what about the picture of real homelessness, which is a poor mom with 2 kids with a husband who took off and left her, who's sitting there struggling on that minimum wage job, and all of a sudden now is out in the streets and sidewalks desperately trying to find some help, get her life back, can't get those kids into child care.
I think that's what happened to
Can't
Jewel.
afford them. That's a tough thing.
Yeah, that's
and
tough.
That's a picture of family homelessness in this country.
That's a postage stamp. The picture of homelessness. Someone with a fucking full-time job who's husband left. Fuck off, Newsom. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. There's something wrong with him. I know he says it all the time. But it's like if somebody said to me, you know what the problem is? We got the bubonic plague. There's rats everywhere. And you know what the real problem is? Polar bears. Downtown LA. And I'm going to go after them. It's like, you got a guy who's setting policy who is talking about something that doesn't exist when I was telling him what does exist, which all you assholes are finding out now. So Gavin Newsom has now signed it. I don't know. What did he sign? He just signed something. The problem has to get way out of control, and then at some point, these people get hit in the fucking face so many times by reality that they have to go, well, I guess the dick with the frizzy hair from 10 years ago may have been onto something when he was telling me. He was telling me the real face of homelessness, the real. He's such a fucking empty vessel. It's crazy. We vote this guy in every fucking 4 years.
But Adam, even you have to admit, when you drive to work, all you see are women in their 30s with
their kids, their young children who are they work full time. They're just making minimum wage. Yeah, that's who's sleeping on the sidewalk. And that's fucking idiot.
That's what I've said so many times. Like, we don't treat animals this way. We don't leave sick animals on the street. It would be we would riot before we would do that. And that's why I don't understand. We've talked about this so many times. I don't understand the homeless advocates, because this is somebody's family member. This is somebody lost touch with this person who deeply cared about them at one point. We don't just leave them on the street like trash, but we do here.
They've all burnt the ties with the family and the friends. They've all burnt that bridge. They didn't go from wherever they were to sleeping on the street. They all did the couch surf thing. They all did the move back home thing. They all did the inflatable mattress in the basement thing. And they were on drugs, and they were stealing from the people. And some people, at some point, the people kicked them out, and there was no place else to go. And now they're on the street. Dawson, you have that article, by the way?
Yes, it says, with more than 100,000 people living on California streets, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a first-of-its-kind law on Wednesday that could force some of them into treatment as part of a program he describes as CARE, but opponents argue is cruel.
Cruel. By the way, the self-appointed experts, you know, I'm an expert on race, I'm an expert on homelessness. Who the fuck appointed you an expert on a group of people or a problem?
I'm curious to know how you force someone against their will, unless it's jail or like a 5150 kind of a situation. How do you force someone into some kind of extended or long-term care?
I mean, the same way I guess you would if you said, like, you just went out to the Burbank Park and said, I'm putting pots and pans out and I'm setting up. And like, they'd tell you, you got to go somewhere. You got to go. And it's all, the problem is it's very sticky and shitty. There's no doubt. It's basically this. You have a house. Houses sort of need to be maintained. You know what I mean? You can go paint that fascia every 5 years. Get out there and it won't be that tough a job if you do it every 5 years. But if you just walk away for 50 years, you're going to go, but it's termite and the paint's bubbling and the wood is rotting. And it's like, yeah, it is. We're fucked. This is a big deal now. If you can take care of it sort of one camper at a time and one thing at a time. But because we mishandled it completely, spent billions of dollars, got nothing in return, had idiots like Gavin Newsom with his policy about the mother of three and the completely mismanaged and misguided and miscalculated whole thing, it is now officially a shit show. It is, we're now going to have to get up there with a sawzall and start pulling off that fucking old fascia. And you as the homeowner goes, this is a big job now. It's like, it is. It needed to be managed. It never was managed. The people that were the home improvement experts, the advocates for the homeless, they were fucking retarded and idiots, and we should have never listened to them. Just because you're loud doesn't make you right.
That's right, Al.
Ironically, I just yelled that.
I was going to say.
Because we'd have a handful of unemployable. Who the fuck has time to go down to the Santa Monica Civic Council meeting at noon on a Tuesday and get super loud about homeless advocacy? Fucking people that should be homeless. I mean, who are these? And they'd show up and they'd start shouting and go, I'm a self-appointed. And we'd go, all right, well, we got to listen to these people. all of us were just at work paying taxes. And now it is going to be a shit show. But your fascia is going to be a shit show on the side of your house. But what is the choice now? It's like now it's an operation.
Yeah, back to the analogy, it's like you let the problem go long enough. You have to consider measures you may not have considered 10 years ago, forcing people into treatment who need it. You might have 10 years ago, it may have been an opt-in kind of thing, but now it's to the point where something's got to be done.
Well, we can't have insane people and junkies just sleeping strewn about the city. It's just we can't have that.
The hope is that there's something there that helps facilitate getting them to get help, because you're right, they're there for a reason that they can't control, and they need help. They're humans. They're their lives.
Yeah, you're not helping the human by letting them sleep on the sidewalk and get into fentanyl. That's not. I know many people that got sober by going to prison.
Yeah, we get that story a lot on the show. It saved
they
their
didn't
life.
want to go to prison, but they did get sober there.
Yeah.
All right, one more, Gina Grad.
Well, let's talk about People Magazine's People of the Year. They've named their People of the Year for 2022, and I will go down the list with you. Matthew McConaughey. Why? Well, his response, he was really, really vocal after the shooting in Uvalde because he's from Uvalde. And he met with victims' families and traveled to D.C. He was pushing for gun reform. He really came to the forefront when that happened, and so he's being recognized for that. Emmy winner Quinta Brunson, who created Abbott Elementary to bring all of those groups together. Emmy Award winner, got into a nice little tiff, a little back and forth with Jimmy Kimmel, who decided to flop out during her acceptance speech.
Guy's got a problem, man.
He really does. He needs to
Eric Adams needs to scrape his ass up and take him somewhere.
Mila Kunis used her platform to raise money and collect aid for Ukrainian people, and you think, oh, okay, whatever. How much did she raise? $37 million for Ukrainian refugees.
In Ukrainian dollars?
So it's more like $27.
Most of that was from one guy who wanted to fuck her. That's what I heard.
Is that what you heard?
She's still, God bless her, it's $37 million more than me.
Yeah.
But that's what I heard.
Money's money. Was it green?
That's what he said, yeah.
Okay, that's right. And finally, Jennifer Hudson became the youngest female EGOT winner. Started her own daytime talk show to create a platform for everyone, she says, so we all have a place to be included. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony winner.
Where do you go from there? She got 40 more years on this earth.
I know. Good luck with her.
She dropped the weight, never got fragged for it.
No, I think that was that Weight Watchers?
Yes.
She was an ambassador.
Yeah.
And she did great. She talked about people with hardship.
Oh, yeah.
She's
seen some stuff.
And that's like, it's not like, oh, it's all behind me. That was before I was famous. In the middle of her, like.
No, as she was just breaking onto all these platforms, this horrible family tragedies. I don't know. I've never met her. I respect her greatly and admire her. And I feel like she's done, in her young amount of years, she's done amazing things.
Yeah. So. And they always say that, like, it's not.
But she never got shit. Some people get shit for losing weight.
Yeah.
She didn't get shit for it.
No.
Good for her.
Good for her.
It's a philosophical question.
Okay.
Dawson, you're a single guy. What if I said, I'd like to set you up with this gal? She's an ambassador for Weight Watchers.
Ooh.
Now,
She must have been successful.
definitely successful.
Yeah.
Definitely
Watch that
successful.
Why do they still need her?
She's an ambassador. That's all I'm telling. She'll wear the sash and bring the scepter. But is this good?
She gainfully employed, or
I don't know. All I'm saying is she's an ambassador for Weight Watchers.
interesting.
Okay. All right. You have to think about that.
That being said, if it wasn't for me watching my points, my shit would be out of control. So God bless her.
I'm a fan.
Are we still doing Weight Watchers? Is that still a thing?
Yep.
Who's we?
Well, I mean,
The girl in this room that you're talking to? Or people in general?
I've changed my life.
Yeah.
It was either that or look at type 2 diabetes. So
Yeah.
all right. How much weight did you lose?
30 pounds.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I never really gained it back.
Well, you
But
got-
I
you
had
got-
gestational diabetes, so I was
Wow.
twice. So I
Oy.
was susceptible to type
Yeah.
2 diabetes, and my doctor told me if you don't do something now to reduce the odds of getting type 2, and I went to Weight Watchers, and that was I didn't want to go. My manager was going, and she said, "You want to go with me?" And we'll make it a contest between the two of us. So we just made it, she offered me lunch afterwards, and I said, sure. Went.
Wow.
For it. Yeah.
How long you been on it?
I wouldn't say that I'm technically on it anymore, but it does teach you how to look at food as far as for me, portion.
Yeah. Because everything, that's why they say everything's allowed, because everything's assigned a point value. So you can have it, but you're cutting into your points for the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. So it's not like if that's the philosophy you subscribe to, there's nothing off limits. You're not depriving yourself. You just have to make choices because it's going to be a point value.
I'm a Jenny Craig dude, but
Okay.
we'll agree to disagree. My mom, you're reminding me, my mom would never sign up for any of that shit, but she would go to Overeaters Anonymous.
Oh, really?
Oh, there was
So much for Anonymous.
OA.
Right?
Low response.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, Al-Anon, and we got a lot of Anonymouses out there for me to yell into this microphone. But I was like...
Did you ever go with her? Did you ever have to go?
I was a raccoon in the dumpster of life looking for food. Then I was scrounging for food. I don't know where her overeating came from. There's nothing in my fridge. Maybe she ate it all. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe she ate it all and then went to the meeting, and then I opened the fridge and there was nothing there. Yeah, I was always looking for food. But yeah,
I didn't mean, did you ever have a problem? I mean, was she ever did you ever tag along?
No, but that was the name of a good cookie. Yeah. That I wish she had. She ate
Which
the
they
whole
still
box.
make, yeah.
Did she
the whole
say-
goddamn box of tag-alongs?
Did she say, this is a great meeting, I wish there were s'more?
S'more. That's right. Why can't you be a Samoa? I want Samoa tag-alongs. Yeah, the problem that the people that have it, there's a small group of people that have some kind of non-relationship with food.
It's weird.
And it's almost like it's maybe the same group that kind of has it with sex or attraction or partners, which is like, I could get laid or not get laid. I can go 6 months or whatever. I'm not going to. Because the ones that are really got it bad, they get into trouble. You know what I mean? They go out of town. They start looking for escorts. They get ripped off. They get a venereal disease. They bring it back home. It's trouble. I probably met, you guys tell me, have you met 3 people in your life, in their life? My dad's one of them. There's just no relationship with food.
So weird.
Most have been through the show. Angie or Brian or Andrew.
Right. Yeah.
They have no
Growing
relationship.
up with Jews, I don't have that many people in my life who have no relationship with food.
I find myself,
I can't think of one.
you have a relationship with food because you start building your day around it. Start talking to them. What are we doing for dinner tonight?
Well, you're eating lunch.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah.
And you start going, hey, Saturday, why don't we go? And it's like you realize you're building, and the
Your day
people that
around
have the best are the people with just the non-relationship.
They can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You have to remind them to eat.
I
fucking hate those
I
people.
fucking I was so busy today I forgot to eat. I'm like, that is, first of all, you're lying. Second of all, that doesn't sound like much of a life to me.
Right.
I want
what were
to
you doing
appreciate
that made you so busy that you would forget
Thank
to
you.
eat? I can do a plenty of stuff and eat an entire bag of chips without giving it one thought.
Are you a sweet or salty person?
Both.
Yeah, I'm a salty person.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, sugar is my
Sure,
nemesis,
yeah.
Yeah. Producer Angie in the morning show just,
Oh, it's so weird.
what was her greatest hits?
Oh, God. That's a long time ago. She would turn her nose up at the most benign food, peanuts.
The first one was Rainier cherries. Angie would not eat
my
Rainier
feeling
cherries.
is,
Adam loves
look,
Rainier
if you're a weirdo, that's your thing.
Yeah.
Don't put it back on me, because you talk to those people and they get really feisty. They go, oh, really? Who eats cantaloupe anyway? You go, I don't fucking know everybody. They go, really? I haven't seen you eating cantaloupe. Look, this is your fucking weird, shitty thing. Don't turn it back on me being a weirdo because I know what cantaloupe tastes like. They literally have never tried anything.
So weird.
But then she loved Starburst or Red Vines.
Yummy
No,
stuff.
I'm not a candy person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could take that or leave it, but I like pie.
Dude, Thanksgiving was a whole thing in our house.
Yeah.
Somebody brought there's so many pies, but somebody brought a homemade, home-baked lemon meringue. And that shit was gone.
I got to tell you, we never talk about it. The best part of a pie was brought up to Olga, my nanny, last night. There was a pecan pie left behind. And I got into it. I guess she was getting into it. And she says to me last night, she goes, what is the part of that pie with the center part, the gooey part? And I'm like, nobody knows.
It's 10,000 calories per spoonful is what that is.
Fingerful you're ever going to get. And she's like, what is that called? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's the best. And then she's like, it's the best. It's not the crust. It's not the pecan. It's the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody knows what that's derived from. No one knows what's in that. I don't know.
Get a bottle of Caro syrup and say, this is it right
Exactly.
Is it nougat? No, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But she went, that's the shit. I was like, you ain't wrong about that. The other thing is that she doesn't know what chutney is.
She doesn't need to.
Chutney's fallen by the wayside.
Isn't it just for Indian food? I think it's for Indian food.
No.
I mean, if you have a choice between pie and chutney.
Thought there was a
I'll
chutney.
take pie.
No, chutney's good with Indian food.
That's what I know it from.
But only Indian.
Oh,
food.
yeah. I
Yeah.
only know it from Indian food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Olga doesn't know what it is.
Oh, weird.
It's like a sweet relish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. A little orange or something. I don't know. Angie would never like chutney.
Please.
Fuck no. She wouldn't even walk on the same. She'd cross the street rather than pass an Indian restaurant, right? There's no fuck. How much would you gamble that producer Angie wouldn't eat Indian
My
food?
life savings.
Everything.
Double up.
Let it ride.
Double up.
What if I said I'll give you 10 cents back on every dollar, mortgage your house tomorrow
I'll take it.
on Indian food?
Yeah, whatever load you can give me, I'll wager it.
Yeah. Fucking weird.
It is weird.
They're always skinny. They're always happy, and they don't know what they're missing.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think about it.
Yeah. Ugh. All right.
A lot of pastry chefs are like that too. They're always like tiny, petite.
Oh, yeah.
They
The
love
Christine Tosi, the one from
They love
from Milk
baking,
over here.
and what's her name? Gianna, with their big
Gianna.
smiley
Oh,
face,
she's
making
a
more
cutie. She's
darling.
making carbs all day, just just carb loading all day. Their little
Give me
petite
Paula
ass.
Dean anyway.
Oh,
Any
yeah.
day with her, I in a garden.
That's
Ivy
right.
Garden.
Yeah, she's good.
Absolutely.
All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Jonathan Kite's coming in here tomorrow, who we always love. I'm going to be in the Rialto Theater in Tucson doing stand-up December 15th, and we're all going to be out in Tempe, Arizona at the Improv December 16th and 17th. You just go to mcrow.com because there's all sorts of live shows. Working Blue with John Popper coming up. So go check that out. Dead to Me, I recommend this show highly. It is very good. And Hey Deanie does an amazing job in this. Just a very watchable series. It doesn't stress you out, but it's got intrigue and it's got laughs too. And it's just a very watchable series. So that's on Netflix. And Diana, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And until next time, this is Adam for Diana and Bald and Gina saying mahalo.